Monday, October 20th, 2025. Good afternoon, Yaoundé. Good afternoon, Cameroon. Good afternoon, Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, your activities of the National Commission for the General Counting of Vote has wrapped up today in Yaoundé.
We are here
for the general counting of votes has ended today.
The National Commission for the General Counting of Votes has concluded the counting and verification process of the October 12 votes. The session, which officially kicked off on Friday, October the 17th, ended this morning. In the early hours of this Monday, 2025, the team led by the member of the Constitutional Council, Emile Esombe, was installed by the President of the Constitutional Council, Clement Atangana, on Friday. For 3 days, they have been compiling results from material errors to ensure accuracy of the final votes. Of the final results, the commission included 5 representatives from the administration, 5 from Elecam, a representative of each candidate. Louis-Marie Cagde was one of the representatives of the Social Democratic Front. Take a listen to him.
stay in the framework of the law. This is not a problem. SDF is here to already know the SDF party was the only political party in Cameroon to deposit in the framework of the law the list of all its representatives in police station. So we are here to be checked what people said at the local level. So the will of the people will be our motto during this session.
It should be noted that the representative of Issa Chiroma Bakari of the FSNC left the process on Saturday, accusing the structure of setting the stage for the adoption of widespread electoral fraud. Zita.
Glory Elections Cameroon continues to emphasize on the transparency of the October 12 elections.
The chairman of the Electoral Board and Elections Cameroon, Dr. Eno Abrams Egbe, was addressing the press last Friday, where he urged the population to trust the transparency and inclusivity of the electoral process as votes are being counted. Let's listen to Dr. Eno Abrams Egbe in this excerpt.
Pursuant to the provision of Section 5 of the Electoral Code, Electoral Board members of the Elections Cameroon enjoy independence in the exercise of their duties. In this regard, they do not receive instructions from any political or administrative authority. This independence constitutes the cornerstone of the credibility of the electoral process in our country. As you are no doubt aware, the 18 members who make up the Electoral Board come from the administration, political parties, and civil society. With regard to administration, electoral officials, observers, and electoral materials, Section 11, Sub 2, provide that the Electoral Board shall hold consultation with the administration. The aim of this consultation is to ensure that the electoral process runs smoothly and peacefully, by ensuring synergy of action and preventing any misunderstanding or malfunction.
Glory, you also have updates on the activities of some presidential candidates as well as some movements and political actors concerning the presidential elections.
Issa Chiroma Bakari accusations that his followers and supporters have been publishing fabricated results from polling stations. Issa Chiroma Bakari reiterates that their figures were compiled based on statistics from the different voting centers, and while calling for Cameroonians to maintain peace and serenity, Issa Chiroma warns that bloggers. Meantime, several political actors have condemned Issa Chiroma for continuously proclaiming himself as winner, which is resulting in conflict in some regions like the north, west, and littoral. One of them is the communication officer of the CPDM, Professor Jacques Famdogo, who in an outing termed the act of self-proclamation as insurrection attempt. On their part, the G20 political parties have denounced the declaration of Issa Chiroma Bakari, who pronounced himself winner. This was during a press conference on Friday, October 17th, chaired by its president, Jean de Dieu Momo. Take a listen to him in this excerpt.
We are facing a lot of fake news. The people of the opposition of Mr. Issa Chiroma, they are not having enough bullet of vote. So they will say, we want this side to force the population to go there and make noise and make violence. This is dangerous because it perturbs our vote. It perturbs our nation. It can put the fire in the nation. It can put the war in the nation. We have to face that and say no to the lie, no to the rumor, no to fake news that can put the fire in this country. We have to face that. That's why the G20, we call the people to say, calm down the people. I beg the journalists to calm down the people and say to those people of fake news to stop doing that way, and so that we save our country from disturbance, from the war, civil war.
Cameroonians have also reacted to the happenings within this post-electoral period while calling on fellow citizens to maintain calm as they await the results. Take a listen to some of them.
The situation right now in Cameroon is very tense regarding to the post-electoral period, whereby different candidates are claiming victory on social media. It's becoming very tense.
All these candidates who call themselves mature people and going in for presidential election is very discouraging. It's very bad. It's very disappointing for them to create confusion among Cameroonian citizens. Meanwhile, they claim to rule the country tomorrow. Transparency should be our portion, and they should let things go the way it has to go.
As Cameroonians, what you must do in this period is to prioritize peace. At the end of the day, a nation can only develop when there is peace. If there's no peace, there's no way that a nation can develop. So we must prioritize peace. We must all be beggars of peace at this particular point, because we are at a very critical period in our history whereby if we don't take care, we might enter a situation of chaos that we will live for many years to regret.
2025 presidential election, that was our special page in the news.
And still to come in this newscast, ladies and gentlemen, we ask Cameroonians how often they change their bed sheets.
I actually change my brushes sometimes 1 week, or sometimes even 1 week, 3 or 2 days, depending on the color.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to the 2 p.m. news on Royal FM. The Mamu Hospital Complex last Saturday, October the 18th, organized a sports walk and roundtable exchange with Professor Ngosak Francois to raise awareness and sensitize women on breast cancer under the theme, The Working Class Woman and Her Health, as part of activities to mark the traditional Pink October. Let's now listen to Professor Ngosak Francois, who explains the raison d'etre of the theme.
You know that women they know to be a mother, sister, doctor, everything, but for others, they are not for themselves. And then I would just want to sensitize them to say that if you don't take care to yourself, it can be difficult to take care of other persons.
Let's now also listen to one of the participants, Gaga Kelly, who shares her take-home lesson from the Pink October commemorative lectures. She spoke on the microphone of our reporter, Ngang Nadej.
I was opportunity to attend the roundtable conference, and it was very enriching because as women who are actually always busy, we turn most of the time to concentrate on others, on the work, to take care of the family, whereas we most at times forget about our personal health, about I learned a lot today, especially as we're talking about cancer. One of the most important things I learned was that it is very much important for us to go for checkup because it is good to discover whatever discover sickness on time, because when they discover it earlier, it is easier also for the treatment to take place. As we all know, cancer is a killer disease in our world right now. Attending this program actually helped me, and I'm sure I'm going to also help the people around me. And I also learned that as a woman today, despite the number of activities or the things you have to do, always put out time for yourself.
In more health news, today, October the 20th, is being marked as World Osteoporosis Day, drawing attention to a growing but silent health threat in the country and the world at large. It is a day dedicated to raising global awareness of bone health and the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of osteoporosis and related musculoskeletal diseases. Ngang Nadesh sat down with a health expert who sheds light on the bone disease in this report.
Mwafo Courage is a state-registered and senior nurse. She attempts a definition of osteoporosis and those who are most prone to the disease.
Osteoporosis is a condition where bones become weak and brittle due to loss of density, making them more prone to fractures. It is most commonly seen in older adults and also particularly in post-menopausal women due to hormonal changes that affect bone density.
She highlights some symptoms and possible treatment of the bone disease.
Some symptoms of osteoporosis include back pain, stool posture or loss of posture, loss of height, bone pain, loss of balance, difficulty bending. There are several treatments for osteoporosis, which includes medications like biphosphate and hormone therapy, and other drugs that help strengthen the bone, calcium and vitamin D supplements, which are essential for bone health. Also, lifestyle changes, increased physical activity and dietary adjustments.
The health practitioner concludes by suggesting some preventive measures against osteoporosis. Mwafo Courage once again.
Under the preventive measures of osteoporosis, we have nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle choices. Under nutrition, you should maintain a balanced diet rich in calcium, dairy products, and vitamin D. On exercise, we should engage in regular weight-bearing and strength training exercises to improve bone density. Concerning lifestyle choices, we should avoid smoking and alcohol consumption, as both can weaken bones. And also, we have fall prevention, home safety, remove tripping hazards, use non-slip mats, and ensure adequate lighting to prevent falls.
Recent studies indicate that over half of women aged 70 and above in urban areas are living with osteoporosis. Health experts say the disease remains largely underdiagnosed due to limited awareness and scarce screening facilities.
A one-week vaccination campaign against poliomyelitis kickstarts today in all 10 regions of Cameroon. The campaign, which targets children 0 to 4 years of age, is organized by the Ministry of Public Health and will wrap up on Friday, October the 24th, which will also mark the celebration of World Polio Day. Today, October the 20th, marks World Statistics Day. It is a global occasion highlighting the vital role of quality data in driving development. In Cameroon, the challenge of producing timely and accurate statistics remains a significant. Limited financial resources, coordination issues among government bodies, and technological constraints often delay data collection and processing. Reliable data is crucial for informed policy decisions, economic planning, and tracking progress towards national and global goals. As Cameroon commemorates the day under the theme Driving Change with Quality Statistics and Data for Everyone, there is a green call for increased investment and better coordination to ensure quality statistics. In this light, Fringwe Crispin caught up with an economist who indicates that it is important to safeguard statistics for the economic development of a country. Let's now listen to Polycarp Chengwitala.
The economic statistics of a nation determines the sustainability of that nation. I remember that all nations are moving towards sustainable growth right now, and for us to have sustainable growth, we need to look at what we have done in the past, look at what we are to do now, and what we're going to do in the future. So we only need economic statistics from all the various sectors to know which sectors has been really handicapped more than the other, which sectors is still more resourceful more than the other, so that we can better know how to reallocate our resources right now, especially for sustainability purposes. So economic statistics is what a nation really depends on in order to have good policies, in order to have reallocation of its resources, and also in order to have developmental goals. And which sector is far more important than the other sector when it comes to maybe exchanges, or even in our foreign collaboration and exchanges with other nations. Our economic statistics will help us to know which country should we trade with more, and on what should we trade with more. Remember that this economic statistics can help tell us that we have been doing good in this sector, and maybe we can capitalize on that sector to better trade with other nations by maybe exporting this particular sector because we are good in it, and we are well endowed in it as well, being maybe or taking something on natural resources. And the economic statistics will also help us to be able to know which nation we should trade with more when it comes to importation as well, because we might need these more, and the trend of the population shows that this particular sector is mostly in need.
From one international celebration to the other, chefs in Cameroon and across the world are on the spotlight today as the 2025 edition of International Chefs Day is being celebrated on October 20th. The day is celebrated annually, recognizes the dedication, skill, and creativity of culinary professionals worldwide. Freeway Crispin had an exchange with a professional chef and put together this report.
Bunji Dixon Tata is an executive chef who has been practicing in Cameroon for close to 20 years.
Cooking has always been more than just a skill for me. It is a passion. I grew up in a home where food brought people together, and I was inspired by how a good meal could create joy, comfort, and connection. So choosing this profession felt natural because it allowed me to turn that passion into a career. What I love most is the ability to bring people together through food. Seeing someone enjoy a dish I prepare is deeply rewarding. I also enjoy experimenting with flavor and learning new techniques.
Even though the chef has been able to gather much experience and satisfy his financial needs, there are still lots of challenges faced.
They include rising food costs, inconsistency supply chains, and sometimes the lack of recognition for the hard work cooks put in. Long hours and physical fatigue are also part of the job, but we push through because we love it.
Faced with these difficulties, Chef Bundi Dixon Tata attests a lot could be done to ease the culinary profession.
I believe more support should be given to the local cooks and culinary professionals through training programs, access to affordable ingredients, and platforms to showcase our work. Promoting Cameroon cuisine, both locally and internationally, can also open doors for growth. And above all, we need to value the profession more because food is culture and cooks are the ambassador. And here you have an ambassador.
Chefs honor cultural heritage by preparing traditional dishes and also drive culinary evolution through innovations and creativity.
Freeway Crispin in that report. Onto this feature story, the ritual of changing bed sheets is a universal necessity from persons living in bustling cities to quiet village homes. While some prioritize hygiene, others are guided by traditional beliefs attaching myths and superstition to the practice. Our newsroom spoke to some Cameroonians who share how often they change their bedspreads and the reason behind their swapping habit. Take a listen.
Bedsheet, depending on the color of the bedsheet, depending on also how many people had to sleep on the bed for the week. So like recently I had visitors at home. Since they play a lot on the bed and they get to dirty the bed, so the bedsheet I put was a color bedsheet, and it can take just 1 week and I'll change it because the children are many and they are dirtying the bed easily. But then when it's just me at home, I mostly put white bedsheet. I just put it for 1 week and I remove. Every week I change my bedsheet, I wash, I change and put the next one. I do that because I usually think that bedspread is what we sleep on and where we spend our resting hours. So if I'm coming to lie down and rest, I should not be lying down on there, something that will be smelling awful or something that will not be feeling comfortable. I'm coming into the house to feel comfortable and rest. And so if my bedsheet doesn't look comfortable enough for me, I change it.
I change my bed sheet every week, given the fact that not only that I feel, but most of the time the acne I have on my face is caused by the bed sheet I like, given the fact that it touches my face and my whole body.
I often change my bed sheet, sometimes 1 week or sometimes even 1 week, 3 or 2 days, depending on the color. Because if it's white bed sheet, it's not going to make up to a week, because with white, any little thing you do, it gets dirty. But there are colors that at least it can stay for 1 week, 3 days, depending on color of the bed sheets.
And still on the phenomenon of bedsheet swapping habits, Gang Nadesh caught up with Asangbe Fina, who explains the health dangers of sleeping on a dirty bedsheet in the following excerpt.
Sleeping on a dirty bed sheet that has dust, pests can cause symptoms like sneezing, itching, and respiratory issues, skin irritation. Bacteria and sweat can cause irritations to skin and can lead to further complications like eczema and acne. We have infection, especially for those that have cut or compromised skin. Sleeping on a dirty bedspread can increase your risk of infection or worsen an infection if you already have. Dirty bed sheets that contains dust and mold can contribute to respiratory problems, especially those that are suffering from asthma. It affects sleep quality. Unhygienic conditions can lead to discomfort affecting sleep quality, especially if the bed sheet is dirty and the bed is unmade. It can cause what we call pressure sores and affects overall health. Accumulation of sweat and body oil can create unpleasant odors, which can affect mental health, comfort, and overall health.
And still talking about bed sheets or the bed, which is almost, if not everyone's safe place of rest, we spoke with a man of God to get the spiritual attachment of a bed to those who sleep on it. Take a listen to Pastor Tacha Ivo.
The Bible does not directly teach that someone's bed has spiritual power or causes spiritual conditions between the person and the physical material, the bed. However, there are very symbolic, moral, spiritual meanings attached to beds or sleeping places throughout the Bible. And we see many places in the Bible where the bed can be seen as a place of rest and intimacy with God. We see that, for example, in Psalm chapter 4 and verse 8, where the Bible says, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Here we can see that the bed represents a place of trust and rest in God, not a spiritual object, but a space sanctified by God's peace. We also see in Psalm chapter 63, verse 6, I think, which says, "When I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night." Here we can see the bed as a place of reflection and communion with God. The bed can also be seen as a place of symbol and moral purity. We can see in Hebrews 13, verse 4, which talks more about marriage. The bed here symbolizes sexual purity within marriage. So when it is defiled, it is not the bed itself that is defiled, but it represents a spiritual state of the person. So there are many places where Bible teaches about bed and what it represents. It can also be seen as a place of affliction and judgment. We see that in the book of Psalms 41, for example. While the Bible never teaches that beds themselves hold spiritual power, either positive or negative, it shows at least what happens on the bed, either rest or prayer or immorality or sickness or revelation, whatever. It reflects the spiritual state of the person, be it his moral life, his spiritual life, righteous life, his sinful life, absence of God, and all of that. So what happens on the bed is a reflection of the state of the person, but the physical object itself is not a problem whatsoever.
Out of Cameroon, Ivorians are set to go to the polls next Saturday, October the 25th, for the country's presidential elections. Incumbent President Alassane Ouattara will be running for a fourth term. The 83-year-old held a rally last Saturday, during which he reassured his supporters, especially the youth, of his commitment to working harder for their well-being. The presidential campaign is taking place amidst, or rather against, the backdrop of tensions amidst fear and unrest, and the opposition leaders, including former head of state Laurent Gbagbo and Tijani Thiam, believe Mr. Ouattara should not seek a fourth term in office. On to one of our lead stories. Hardline conservative Sanae Takaichi is set to become Japan's first female premier after her governing Liberal Democratic Party signed a coalition deal with a right-wing partner party. Takaichi and Hirofumi Yoshimura, co-leader of the Japan Innovation Party known as Ishin, signed the coalition agreement today. The deal clears the way for Takaichi to win tomorrow's vote, which will see her replace incumbent Shigeru Ishiba, who has resigned. On to sports without transition. Let's welcome sportsman Biwa Brian. Good afternoon, Brian.
Good afternoon, Mapalazita.
We begin in handball, where Cameroon's representatives at the African Club Handball Championship have been booted out of title contention.
Cameroon's aspiration for continental handball gold were dashed over the weekend as all three clubs were eliminated in the semi-final of the African Club Handball Championship in Morocco. The FAP men's team suffered a heavy 37-14 defeat in the hands of Egyptian giants Al Ali, while in the women's category, both FAP girls and Tekasi of Yaoundé lost their respective semi-final clashes, officially ending Cameroon's trophy dreams. Now, the focus shifts to salvaging a bronze medal, with the FAP
or Lionesses are en route to Algeria for the Women's African Cup of Nations qualifier.
5 Cameroon-based female players last evening departed for Oran, Algeria, to complete the indomitable Lionesses squad for the final round of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations qualifiers. The quintet, which includes Ngole Chelsea from Lufmin Proof, Wamen Miriam, Tala Priska, Tim Shalom, all from Amazon FAP, and Soga Makanda Gloria Monica from Ice Dibamba, will link up with 20 foreign-based players to form the 25-woman squad selection by Jean-Baptiste Bissek. The team will face a crucial 2-leg tie against Algeria, with the first match scheduled for October 23 in Algeria and the return leg on October 28 in Douala. Following the roster announcement, here is Coach Anong Benadet's take on the set list put together by Jean-Baptiste Bissek.
Believe in all their potential, better than anyone outside. Maybe can do, because I saw names of Division 2 and all the rest. He knows the stage of preparation is in at this very moment, not too far from the match. I think that because before you make a list, you must try to watch the players and must know what they can bring. As most of them are local players, it's also, I would say, is a good thing because they prepare the local ones. I just believe that at the end of it, he might have at least 10 of them in the final list. He knows better in the stage of his preparation towards the double confrontation against Algeria. So I think
Brian, you say Column Sportif of Ja Elobo will in a few hours take off for Morocco for their game against MC Algiers.
Column Sportif of Jai Lobo has immediately shifted focus to a decisive second leg match of the CAF Champions League tie, after playing a frustrating 1-1 draw against MC Algiers in Yaoundé. The League One champions, who are debuting in the second preliminary round, took an early lead through Ino Liomba, but the Algerian visitors equalized late, securing a crucial away goal that gives them an advantage heading into the second leg fixture. The second leg, which will take place in a few days from today on Friday, October 24, is their final hurdle, and those who rely on tactical discipline and fighting spirit to pull off an upset and continue their historical run at the continental level. Hamidou Hamza is a defender for Column Sportif of Jai Lobo.
Well, I think it's something that was being planned. Like we wanted to have a victory for the game, but unfortunately we had to put in a lot of intensity, and on the final stage we never came out with a victory. But it's not so surprising. I think it's enough motivation for us to prepare well to fight against the Algerian team in their home. I must say chapeau to my teammates and the entire team of Column. But experience is maybe something before. We are playing the present tense. We are talking about something present. So I think we are ready to go in for the fight. Well, I must say I don't really know about the Algerian supporters or maybe their attitude, but I must say with the little I've seen today, it's for them. But for us, we know what is taking us to Algeria. We know the same people like.
At the continental level, Brian, Morocco has been crowned champions of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup.
The Atlas Club, as they are fondly called, delivered a legendary performance last evening, stunning 6-time champion Argentina with a commanding 2-0 victory in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup final at Santiago, Chile. This historic triumph not only marks Morocco's first ever title in a FIFA tournament, but also makes them the first African country after Ghana in 2009 to lift the trophy. The mental momentum set by the senior national team during the last edition of the Senior FIFA Men's World Cup.
Let's now welcome Doreen Bimi into the studio with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Bon après-midi, Doreen.
Good afternoon de la journée internationale célébrée ce lundi 20 octobre 2025. Celles et ceux mis à l'honneur célèbrent leur savoir-faire, leur culture et leur passion pour la gastronomie. Sur la scène internationale présidentielle en Côte d'Ivoire, dernière ligne droite, près de 8,7 millions d'électeurs sont appelés à élire leur président ce samedi 25 octobre 2025. 5 candidats sont en lice, dont le sortant Alassane Ouattara qui brigue un 4e mandat. En sport football, Ligue africaine des clubs des champions, score de parité entre Colombe Sportive du Sud et MC Alger. C'était dans le cadre du match aller du 2e tour préliminaire interclub de la Coupe au stade Amadou Ahidjo. Score, 1 but partout.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the package we gathered for you on this first edition of the 2 p.m. news for this week. The news was technically assisted by Salomon Esana. Brian Bida took care of the camera for our different social media handles. Production assistants Biwa Brian and Ngang Nadesh. Script editing and editorial coaching Abel Bella Samari. Central coordination Roger Kiek, our station manager, and general supervision by the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For news editing and presentation, my name is Mapala Zita. Thank you all for listening, and do have a pleasant